Welcome to Pure Wisdom. The greatest mysteries are not hidden in ancient pyramids or cryptic texts. They walk among us, breathing, thinking, and eluding comprehension. Have you ever wondered why certain individuals can't stop examining you, as if they were conducting a top-secret experiment? Here's a crazy fact. Psychologists believe individuals are predisposed to dread and examine what they don't comprehend. And guess what? That makes you the public enemy number one. An unsolved conundrum cloaked in confidence and stillness. You're not simply living rent-free in their brains. You are constructing luxurious condominiums with panoramic views of their insecurities. So, why are they obsessed? Simple. You're a live plot twist, and nothing frightens a society addicted to predictability more than a chosen one who refuses to be understood. Buckle up. Things are about to become much more mysterious. The mysterious energy phenomena ranks first. Some people enter a room and nothing happens. Others enter, and the entire mood transforms without reason. You are the latter. People can't quite put their finger on what makes your presence so unique. Perhaps it's your energy, body language, or the fact that your eyes appear to know things they shouldn't. Whatever it is, you upset the equilibrium, and people experience it on a level they cannot describe. That is why they investigate. It's more than simply curiosity, it's survival instinct. People have an innate ability to identify risks and opportunities. You messed up their internal radar. They can't tell if you're a buddy or something completely beyond the scope of typical conversations. This bothers them since the human brain prefers patterns, and you don't fit into any. What makes it even more frustrating is that you don't attempt to be the focus of attention. It simply happened. They expect power to be loud and flamboyant, while yours is quiet and obvious. The contrast makes them want to figure you out. They will scrutinize your every word. Examine your silence and body language like a detective working a high-stakes case. Here's the kicker. The more they dig, the less they discover, which drives them nuts. Because people are accustomed to finding secrets. But you aren't a jigsaw with missing components. You are a force that rewrites the entire board. And it is the true reason why people are so obsessed with you. They're not just seeking for answers. They're expecting you'll offer a blueprint for how to be so disruptive and magnetic without even trying. And until you do, they'll keep watching, wondering, and worrying over what makes you so unique. Number 2, the dread of being mistaken about yourself. People are preoccupied with being correct about others. They want to properly categorize you. Label yourself as a hero, a villain, a genius, or just lucky. It helps people feel safer. They act as if they know everything about you. But here's where you drive them insane. You do not fit into any of those categories, no matter how hard they try. You skip straight over their definitions. They all have that sense of uneasiness, because being incorrect about you threatens their worldview. Their need to define you is more than just curiosity. It's ego. People want to feel intelligent, in charge, and validated by their judgments. But you disturb the entire process. One minute they believe they have broken your code, and the next you do or say something that absolutely demolishes their notion. They begin to question their instincts, wondering if they have misunderstood others as well. You become living proof that their mental checklist for comprehending others is incorrect. And here's the twist. Even when they think they've figured out who you are, skepticism seeps back in. What if they overlook something? What if there is more to the story? The dread keeps them hooked. They can't let it go because admitting they don't fully understand you implies accepting that life is messier, more complex, more unpredictable than they would want. That is why they persistently study you, not just to find out who you are, but also to defend their fragile confidence. If they can track you down, it confirms their viewpoint. But because they can't, they're stuck in an eternal cycle of inquiry, frustration, and intrigue. And you simply keep being yourself. effortlessly testing everything they believe they know. Number 3, untraceable origins. People adore patterns. They like to assume that if they know where you've come from, they can anticipate where you'll go. However, with you, things are different. They cannot trace your beginnings in a way that makes sense to them. They go into your past looking for hints, childhood memories, professional changes, relationships, and failures. However, nothing appears to add up as it should. That drives them mad since they're accustomed to establishing a clear cause and effect relationship. Most individuals conform to a story. They are the outcome of expected occurrences, such as stepping stones, which have led to who they are now. But you are an oddity, someone who did not adhere to the standard pattern. Perhaps you did not come from a privileged background. Nonetheless, you conduct yourselves like royalty. Perhaps you lacked formal schooling, yet spoke with insight that alarmed intellectuals. Perhaps you had all the odds stacked against you. But here you are, unabashed and obvious. That contradicts their idea of success and development. Their discontent stems from more than simply curiosity. It's all about control. People like to think that life has a set of rules. If they are unable to map out your path, it is possible that the rules do not exist. That prospect frightens them since it contradicts their entire belief system. If you can emerge from apparently nowhere or without the usual milestones, what's stopping anyone else from doing the same? They continue to investigate, hoping to locate the missing connection that would help you understand. But the fact is that there isn't one. You did not originate from a formula. They will never pin you down. That makes you one of the most unique and intriguing persons they've ever met. They can't stop watching because you challenge all they thought they understood. Number 4, their preoccupation is a type of worship. Most people believe that fixation is about control, but it may also be about something far deeper, almost like adoration. When others focus on you and scrutinize your every action, it is not necessarily with the intention of exposing or defeating you. Frequently, it is because they sense something amazing, something they cannot fully explain but urgently want to. That yearning is not simply curiosity. It's a type of respect. They may never confess it to themselves, but a part of them feels you have a key they don't have. Perhaps it's the way you go through turmoil without fear. Perhaps it's your capacity to maintain your composure in the face of chaos. Or perhaps it's your unsaid conviction, as if you're being directed by a power others can't see or comprehend. Whatever it is, they want some of it. Here's where things get crazy. Their inquiry becomes a ritual, similar to praying. They observe, dissect, analyze, and speculate not only to figure you out, but also to take part of that energy for themselves. They want to know the key of your resilience, charisma, and mystery. It's as if comprehending them might elevate them to the point where the line between infatuation and adoration is blurred. People who explore chosen ones are frequently looking for something holy, something that links them to a greater truth or enables them to realize their full potential. You become a live representation of what is possible, even if they cannot express it. And while they may present their interest as criticism or skepticism, the fact is simpler. They sense something precious in you that they wish they could emulate. And this keeps people coming back whether they realize it or not. Number 5, resistance of predictability. People thrive on predictability. It helps individuals feel protected, as if they have control over their surroundings. They anticipate certain reactions from others. A courteous nod, a defensive response. When things get tough, you might expect an emotional meltdown, but you defy these assumptions. You don't react in the way they expect, and this drives them completely nuts. When they push, you are expected to push back or fold. Instead, you stand there unreadable while they prepare to be angry. You chuckle when they assume you'll join in with their theatrics. You simply walked away. This unpredictability confuses their reasoning. Their inquiries fail, because they are based on cause and effect reasoning. And you rely on intuition, instinct, and sometimes outright chaos. They can't read your thoughts or predict your movements, and that makes you appear dangerous in their eyes. Here is the thing. People who think in straight lines dread those who think in spirals. You don't just break the rules. You create new ones as you go. They cannot track your behavior. Thus, you are an oddity that they cannot ignore. The more they attempt to figure you out, the more they discover you don't fit into any algorithm. That disobedience creates a dilemma that they cannot resolve. They explore, believing they will crack the code, only to realize there isn't one. And the reality that haunts them is so straightforward. You are not abiding by the rules they follow. That suggests the regulations might not be as strong as they thought. You are live proof that freedom exists beyond predictability, which is the one thing they cannot accept. Sixth, you trigger their own shadows. When people look at you, they see more than just you. They are seeing themselves. And this is when the real difficulty begins. There is something about you that echoes their vulnerabilities, unsolved traumas, and unrealized desires. It's like holding up an unwanted mirror, and it makes people really uncomfortable. Perhaps you have the confidence others wish they possessed. Maybe you pursue your hobbies shamelessly while others remain stuck in a job they despise. Perhaps you exemplify a degree of authenticity that reminds them of how much they've been lying their way through life. Whatever it is, you awaken something inside them that they prefer keep hidden. Instead of confronting the situation, they throw their uneasiness onto you. Their fixation isn't actually about you. It is about the components of oneself. They are too terrified to face. They look inside you, trying to discover weaknesses that would make them feel better about their own deficiencies. If they can demonstrate that you are not as special as you appear, they will be able to maintain the illusion that they are not failing. They're simply typical. But this is where things become interesting. The farther they probe, the more they reveal their own shadows. Their envy, anxiety, and hatred rise to the surface. Instead of achieving closure, they become even more entangled in their fixation with you. Finally, you are more than simply someone people observe. You become their own battlefield. You compel them to face facts that they have been avoiding for years. And whether they love you, loathe you, or are unsure, one thing is certain. You have changed them. And it is what keeps people coming back, even if they don't realize why. Number 7, your stillness generates echoes. It's strange how silence can be more powerful than words when you don't explain yourself. People start making up stories to fill in the gaps. Your silence becomes into a large, empty vacuum in which their fears and fantasies run wild. And the more you stay silent, the louder the echoes get in their heads. People despise not knowing where they stand with you. They are accustomed to interactions in which every glance, tone, and reaction may be taken as hints. However, withholding all of this causes turmoil. They will repeat your silence as if it were a mysterious message, looking for significance that does not exist. Their paranoia takes hold. Why didn't you reply? What are your thoughts? Is there something you're hiding? Did they make a mistake? They fabricate intricate stories, each more spectacular than the previous, in order to fill the emptiness. Here's the ironic part. These anecdotes reveal considerably more about them than about you. Your silence acts as a mirror, reflecting back their worries, desires, and anxieties. It challenges them to confront the truth that they cannot control, anticipate, or force you to follow their rules. That lack of control scares them, which is why they continue to investigate. They need to break the stillness to push you to divulge something, anything to calm the insanity in their own heads. But the more they press, the stronger your silence becomes, like an impenetrable fortress. And in that silence, you become the most powerful voice in the room. Without uttering a word, you may convey a great deal. Number 8. The why you conundrum. You're not too noisy. You aren't asking for attention. Despite this, people continue to wonder about you. That paradox drives them insane. They question why this individual is so important. Why should I care when they don't even try? That unsolved question becomes their investigative nightmare. It is not simply curiosity. It is personal. People are used to a specific formula for importance. Be the most outgoing, flashy, or aggressive person in the room. But you breach the rule without even raising a finger. Your peaceful confidence speaks more than their attention-seeking antics ever could, and this disturbs them. Worse, they can't find any cause to dismiss you. You haven't demanded their approval yet. You got it. You're not asking for their attention yet. You got it. That contradicts everything they've learned about how influence works. They spend their lives striving to get recognized, while you simply exist. And still people care. This is why your inquiry gnaws at them. What does it say about all their effort to be noticed and heard if you matter without trying? They examine, expecting to discover some fault or hidden trick that will explain your existence. If they can reduce you to something mundane, it will alleviate their existential crises. However, they never find what they are seeking for. Instead, they learn a painful reality. You are valuable just because you exist, genuinely and unabashedly. And this understanding shocks them to the core. They're left wondering if their entire approach to life is faulty. And until they accept this, they will continue to obsess over you, waiting for an unattainable answer. Number 9. Patterns that do not exist. People are predisposed to search for patterns. It's how they understand the world. They feel comfortable knowing they can foresee your next action. But with you, they always strike a wall. No matter how hard they try, they cannot map your decisions, forecast your behaviors, or categorize your relationships, which are chaos wrapped in intention. And this paradox baffles them. It's not that you lack a plan. You do. Your strategy, however, deviates from the norm. You move when others are static, speak when quiet is expected, and walk away when everyone else competes for a seat at the table. People expect you to follow a pattern since that is what they are accustomed to. However, you rely on instinct, invention, and a degree of insight that others cannot comprehend. Their dissatisfaction stems from the fact that they cannot reduce you to a formula. They seek to forecast your next action, not out of curiosity, but to counteract your effect. If they understand your game, they believe they can defeat you at it. But the reality is, there is no game. You're simply inventing the rules as you go. The more they explore, the more disorganized their results get. They strive to connect dots that do not exist in the hopes of revealing a great design. But you keep going, despite their attempts to pin you down. And in that resistance, you become a live example of freedom, a force they cannot control or define. That is why they are unable to look away. Number 10. Unbought and unbossed. In a world where people are always looking for affirmation from systems, titles, and influencers, you stand out because you don't care about any of them. You don't follow trends, institutions, or social hierarchies. Most people cannot comprehend your level of freedom, and that kind of freedom is terrifying. They examine because they want to know how you did it, how you broke free from the unseen bonds that bound everyone else. Did you reject the rules from the beginning? Did you reach a breaking point that crushed your desire for approval? They want the blueprint. But here's the kicker. There isn't one. Your path was forged through rebellion, not compliance. The world rewards compliance. People are conditioned to seek titles, likes, and external approval as if their value depended on it. But you live by your own standards. That makes you dangerous because it demonstrates to others that they too are not required to follow the rules. If people see you succeeding without being purchased or bossed, it puts the entire system at risk. And This is what they despise the most. You're proof that freedom is attainable. They examine, trying to discover some defect that would indicate their method is superior, but they will not find it since you are not seeking their approval. This makes you untouchable in a society preoccupied with control. Being unbought and unbossed is the pinnacle of revolt. And that's why people keep watching, wanting to figure out how you do it, and to catch a glimpse of your unfettered spirit. Number 11, the inherent threat of authenticity. Authenticity should not be a threat, but in a culture based on masks and performance, it is. You don't stick to scripts, ask for permission, or conform to the expectations of others. This makes you a walking revolution. People look into you because they don't comprehend how someone can live so unashamedly and without compromise. They've spent their whole lives contorting themselves to fit in, wearing the correct clothing, saying the right things, and holding the proper beliefs. They've created their entire identity around external acceptance. And when you show up on your own terms, it shatters their carefully curated universe. It is not only uncomfortable, this is a straight challenge. Your sheer existence pushes them to confront the difficult fact that they have been living for others rather than themselves. And the realization is terrible. So, rather than confronting it, they focus on you. They delve into your life, looking to uncover flaws that would justify their way of life. If they can establish that your legitimacy is a ruse, they may return to believing their masks are genuine. However, the more they probe, the more they understand you aren't performing. You are just being, and that is a degree of freedom they cannot fathom. Their fixation isn't actually about you. It's about the revolt that you symbolize. You show them what life might be like if they quit pretending, and until they're ready to confront that reality, they'll remain watching, trying to either unravel your honesty or, deeper down, discover how to live it themselves. Number 12, your spiritual code is encrypted. People find it difficult to understand you, a sensation of knowing something they don't. It is not arrogant or condescending. It's an unshakable inner knowing that they find both intriguing and disturbing. They examine because they want to know what truths you are holding. But here's the deal. Your spiritual code is encrypted. You do not overshare. You do not hand out the keys to your inner universe on a silver platter. And that drives people insane. They are accustomed to social media oversharing, in which everyone displays their every idea and belief. But you move silently, and the stillness says volumes. They dig, expecting that you would slip up and divulge your secrets. They analyze your words, actions, and even your pauses, attempting to piece together a philosophy that they may accept or deconstruct. But they never quite get it there, because your reality cannot be deciphered. It's something you experience. What makes it even more difficult for them is that your very existence implies that you have discovered a successful method to manage life. You exude calm assurance and quiet strength, as if you've seen through the tumult and emerged stronger. And they want it to happen. Their inquiries are not motivated only by curiosity. They are about desire. They desire what you have, even if they cannot articulate it. However, they will never find it until they learn to sit with their own questions rather than seeking solutions from you. And that's what keeps them coming back, hoping that one day you'll slip and reveal the key they so desperately want. Number 13, unwritten destiny. People are preoccupied with understanding the future. It makes them feel safe. But you have an issue. Your narrative is not only for this generation. This is a story for future legends. They can sense that your fate is unknown, uncertain, and vast. And this makes them uneasy. They examine not out of curiosity, but because they want control. If they understand your trajectory, they believe they can mitigate its effects. But you resist linear timelines and conventional pathways. They are concerned because they are unable to predict your path. There is a weight to your existence that others cannot ignore. It's as if the cosmos implanted something significant within you, a purpose that transcends the present instant. They feel it even if they can't express it. That makes you a wild card in their well-ordered universe. Their investigations are an attempt to keep you in a predictable storyline. If they can identify your story, they can reduce the disturbance you represent. But here's the reality. Your fate is not within their control. You're here to change paradigms, break generational curses, and pave the way for those who follow after you. And that is why they will not stop watching. Because they know deep down that when the dust settles, your name will be inscribed in history, not just for what you've accomplished, but also for the unlimited potential you represent. And that is a future they cannot afford to overlook. They're looking into you because you challenge their concept of how the world should function. You are a riddle that they cannot unravel, a force beyond their control, and a fact they cannot dispute. Every action you make, whether purposeful or instinctual, becomes a riddle for them to solve, not because you want their attention, but because your very existence requires it. But here's the beauty of it all. You were never designed to fit into their mold or follow their guidelines. You are the personification of rebellion, sincerity, and divine purpose, all wrapped in unpredictability. You cause individuals to evaluate their own life, decisions, and limitations. And that is why they are unable to look away. They want to decode, control, and maybe even clone you. But they never will, since your blueprint is unique to you, encoded with a purpose they'll never completely understand. And that is the point. You aren't here to be understood. You're here to exist unashamedly and strongly as a living example of what's possible when you step outside the system and live by your own rules. Allow them to explore. Let them watch. Let them obsess. They'll only ever find the shadow of your brilliance. Because the real you cannot be caught, classified, or controlled. And history will not remember you based on how well you blend in. It will be because of how wonderfully you stood out. If you find this article as informative and engaging as we intended, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future thought-provoking talks. Please remember to like, comment, and share this with everyone who needs to hear it. Let's get the conversation started. What element of this topic spoke to you the most? Please share your ideas here, and let's go further into this enigma together. Stay blessed.